the dying embers of human existence, as the asteroid, a behemoth the size of Texas, hurtles relentlessly toward Earth, the world braces for an apocalyptic end. Deep beneath the bunker, a refuge plunges into the bowels of the Earth. Here the chosen gather, their purpose clear, to preserve the very soul of our civilization. The 35 and 70 millimeter prints that encapsulate the magic, the emotion, and the dreams of generations past. These masterpieces, each frame a testament to the human spirit, are carefully cataloged and cradled in the cavernous confines of the bunker. Perhaps there was room for more, for friends and family yearning for salvation, but sacrifices must be made. The movie nerds stand united, the keepers of a flame, promising a future where the art of storytelling endures, transcending the boundaries of time and space. God help us all.
Welcome to Back to the Frame Rate, part of the Western Media Podcast Network. Join us as we watch and discuss films on VOD and streaming platforms, deliberating on whether each one is worthy of salvation or destined for destruction in the face of the impending asteroid apocalypse. You can find more... What?
In the dying embers of human existence.
The apocalypse is upon us. Yeah.
Yes.
There will be no Christmas.
You can find more... You can find more episodes of this podcast on backtotheframerate.com, where you can subscribe and share our shows and find us on our socials at Back to the Frame Rate. I am Nathan Shore, and accompanying me are the extraordinary movie mavens Brianna Butterworth, Sam Cole, and accompanying us is special guest Lenny Schwartz.
Hi guys, how are you?
I'm going to get to you in a moment, but I have a very important question that I need to ask each of you. It is Christmas 2033. You have an 8-year-old son, Scrotus. His name is Scrotus because when he was born, that was the most popular name for boys in the United States, Australia, and South Africa. Do the math. Uh-huh. All Scrotus wants for Christmas is a limited edition Lord Humongous action figure with arms and legs that move, lethal boomerang, doof-inspired rock and roller jetpack. It says 5 different phrases, including...
There has been too much violence, too much pain. I am gravely disappointed. Again, you have made me unleash my dogs of war. I understand your pain. We all lost someone below. Nobody gets out of here alive. Just walk away, and there will be an end to the horror.
But batteries are not included. The problem is... you forgot to buy it in advance, and you find yourself in a frantic last-minute shopping spree the day before Christmas. Each of you must choose which scenario gives you the best chance to acquire a Lord Humongous for your little Scrotus. And these are the 3 scenarios. A, invading the Citadel, where hundreds of identical war boys dressed like Santa's elves are manufacturing these action figures. B, attack the parade heading out towards Gastown. You would need to overtake the war float, which is heavily armored with flamethrowers and escorted by marauders. Or C, a winner-take-all WWE Royal Rumble frenzy in which yourself and 25 other parents who forgot to buy their kids a present must escape Thunderdome with the only Lord Humongous action figure. Yes, there are chainsaws, giant clubs, and spears at hand. And Lenny, you are our guest, so how do you get your Scrotus?
So you're gonna be kind of mad at me for this answer, I guess, but I think it'd probably be the one that's not on there, which would be D, which is number 1, I'm Jewish, so it wouldn't be out the day before Christmas, looking for Christmas presents. So number 2 is that I got a vasectomy this morning, and I'm holding ice that nobody can see right now. So we're gonna have to go with D on that one, guys. I'm sorry.
Thank you for not playing, Lenny.
Wow, that's the sting. I mean, it's D. I am playing. I mean, not with the ice, but maybe with the ice. That's what the steam is. But yeah, no, I would think if we have to say something, always go with C. That's why you should do
multiple choice.
In the test, you scribble in C. So C, make you happy. So
I'd be at the Citadel. I think I can take those war boys.
But really, D.
And if I can't beat them, I'll join them, and that honestly looks pretty fun.
I would attack the parade heading to the... You told me, but I can't read my own notes, so it says attack the parade heading to Flurg. But wherever they're heading, we will attack that parade. But because I don't want Scrotus to be spoiled, I'll be like, you have to lead this attack. and I'm not going to give you any support. You have to be a man. You have to lead this attack, and I want to let him fall on his own sword because he has to learn. And in accepting his failure, it will help him grow as a warrior, and he will thank me years later when he's in the wasteland and I am gone.
I'm once again begging for more estrogen on this podcast.
Sam, will you dress up as a giant Lord Humongous and surprise him, and he won't recognize you, even though you look just like you're his dad?
I would definitely dress up as a giant Lord Humongous. I would put the mask on, and I would mimic that night dance sequence from Road Warrior, where he's like, "We're surrounding the basement." Like, I would redo that just for my son because I love my son.
All right.
Wow.
So if you hadn't already guessed, this week we are reviewing Jingle All the Way. But no, I'm sorry. We watched Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. But before we get to that, I want to introduce our guest, Lenny Schwartz. Lenny, thank you for joining us this week with this review.
Yes, thank you for having me, guys. Very nice to meet everybody. I know Brianna, and I kind of know Sam from Facebook. We're going to get to know each other really well in the next hour.
Fourth wills it. The fourth.
Lenny.
Qui-Gon said so. Who are we to argue with Master Qui-Gon?
There you go.
Lenny, I know we don't have a ton of time tonight, but I would love for our audience to understand a little bit about who you are, what you do. Could you give us a little briefing on the touchstones of what you do, please?
So I write and direct plays. I do film now, and I do banking.
Wow.
the three pillars that define you. Yeah,
I know, right? Exactly. And actually, I write graphic novels and comics, actually, which I just got hired for another one.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, which is really cool. We've been well. It's been nice. It's been really nice. When is this airing again? So I'm not sure what I can talk about. Really.
A week from tonight. Well, Monday next week. Yeah, Monday next week.
And I may have some other surprises going on this summer, which I can't announce yet. Yeah. But there's a few other surprises going on. Yeah, that's in the works. But it's been good. It's been very good.
That's awesome. I'm going to put it out. You and Nathan, you and Lenny, like you guys have collaborated on projects. Like he's written projects that you've directed, and like you guys are like a Hollywood duo right here.
Well,
we are.
I have mentioned many times in this podcast that Lenny and I we've collaborated on several films. Higher Methods was the feature that we did together, and Assassination of Western Civilization. We did a couple of those pandemic films.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Far From Perfect and Comic Book Junkies. Those were so much fun to work on. And of course, anytime I can help you on anything that you're doing, I love to jump on board, and I'm sure vice versa. So it's been a wonderful collaboration and friendship over the last 10 years or so. So yeah.
Oh my God, 10 years. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
More than that. We can't forget Scary Little Fuckers was I think one of the first things we did together. Yeah. which is on right now. Anybody is on YouTube. May have gotten banned from YouTube. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Email the show. Email the show. I'll send you a link to that. It's hysterical.
And I don't want to lean too heavily into self promotion, but please cast me in one of your future films. I promise I will deliver A-level talent into the stratosphere. Please hire me, please.
One thing before we get started, Lenny, I have 4 quick questions for you because I like to ask all of our guests these things, and this kind of helps I think our audience get to know basically all that we need to know about you. What is the first movie you remember seeing in a theater?
The first movie I remember seeing in a theater, believe it or not, is Poltergeist. I remember seeing Poltergeist and E.T., and I was 4 years old, and my parents took me to Poltergeist, and I remember just being terrified by it. And it was Toby Hooper, and I remember the experience. I remember I went to go see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, I think, before that. But I do remember Poltergeist very, very, very well. Every time I see it, it's kind of a flashback. My parents, they're like, "Oh, it's PG," and we're like, "Oh God!" So that was terrifying. Yeah, and that clown, man. It's just every time I see it, it was terrifying. Oh God! But I thought it was okay. So whatever. Yeah. And then what was the second question?
The next question is, what was the last movie that you watched?
So
aside from this, hopefully.
Oh gosh, I just watched my Life as a Zucchini, which was I was eating dinner and I was like, okay, I gotta put something on because I always have to have something going. And I'm home and I'm like, okay. So I actually just saw My Life as a Zucchini, which I've never seen before. It's a nice little animation. The woman who directed Portrait of a Lady on Fire actually wrote it. Celine, I think her name's Celine Sciamma.
So that's
her name. She's phenomenal. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is one of the best films that nobody talks about much. I mean, it got nominated, but it's
totally agree.
amazing.
And Petite Maman.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh my God.
Amazing.
That is like amazing. That
follow-up.
is like, yeah, I sit there and I watch her films, and they're just, I can't pronounce her name obviously, but she's amazing. But it's unbelievable. Like, if you haven't seen My Life as a Zucchini, it is so stunning. And yeah, everything she's done, even her short films, are just brilliant. So I watched that, and then one before I watched that last night I really watched The Shape of Water, but I watch stuff I don't post online because I don't want to hear people's stupid opinions a lot of times. So it's just true. I mean, I hate to say that.
Oh boy, I really understand.
Actually, no, it's funny why I know Furiosa, because there was some person who actually put a thing on sent me a message, and he goes, "Let me tell you why I hated Furiosa and why your opinions suck and you're stupid." And he goes, "Let me tell you." And then I blocked him. And so he's probably still wondering, if I'm ever going to, hear him, and I'm not going to, because why? What's the point? I don't like to get into those fights.
Well, so Lenny, let me introduce our surprise guest. That one guy from the internet.
Yeah, from the internet, live from there. But I find I actually don't post much beyond stuff that I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what it is. But I do watch a lot of movies. But yeah, My Life as a Zucchini was absolutely freaking amazing. And yeah, anyways, third question. I'm sorry.
Third question. Two more. We'll do these quick. This is a hard one. What is your favorite movie right now?
Like in theaters or just in general?
Just right now, in general. If you had to pick one today, right now.
I always tell people to watch Fellini's 8.5. I think Fellini's 8.5 is absolutely just stunning from start to finish. And it's one of those films you watch at different points in your life, and it means something differently every time. It's unbelievable.
Good.
So much better than La Dolce Vita, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the last question I'm going to ask you, what movie do you credit for turning you into a cinephile? And I hate that term, but.
God, a movie I credit for turning me into a cinephile. Ugh. I gotta say, the one that really kind of remember just changing my life completely, and it's so cliche to say, but I went to this dusty video store, and I think it was a Video Junction or Video something, and you could rent 5 movies for $1. And the person said to me, rent Blue Velvet, and I go, just see it, and I was 12 maybe at that point. It's just watch it, watch it, right? Watch it, And I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. And then that was just something that I knew something else was going on. I didn't know exactly what. And I tried to turn the volume down so my mom wouldn't hear what I was watching and what I was doing. And, you hear those things, what's going on in that room? You hear Dennis Hopper's what's going on there? I'm like, Frank Booth is not in the room, But then I just I was so fascinated by it, right? And to that movie being 12 years old and you're watching it, oh my God, it's the advent of VHS when you're watching it. It was stunning. It changed my perspective on everything.
Wow. Yeah. Good picks, Lenny. I love them.
Thank you.
All right. Let's get to our discussion about what we watched this week. Furiosa, Mad Max Saga from George Miller. I have a quick trailer, a piece of a trailer from it, and then I'll do a plot synopsis.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
I'm Furiosa!
The darkest of angels. The question is, do you have it in you to make it?
All right. So, snatched from the green place of many mothers, young Furiosa falls into the hands of a great biker horde led by the warlord Dementus. Sweeping through the wasteland, they come across the Citadel, presided over by the Morton Joe. As the two tyrants fight for dominance, Furiosa soon finds herself in a nonstop battle to make her way home. All right. Sam, do you have any movie facts for us?
Indeed, I do. So, as we know, director George Miller is back at it with another Mad Max film. This is the first Mad Max film that is not Mad Max-centric. It actually focuses on Furiosa and her backstory, hence the title, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. So he directed it. It was written by George Miller and Nico Lathoris, I think, and still based on the characters by George Miller, Byron Kennedy. It was produced by Doug Mitchell and George Miller. Anna Taylor-Joy, who did a great job, replaced Charlize Theron. And actually, when George Miller was writing the Mad Max Fury Road, he had envisioned Furiosa's backstory throughout that screenwriting process to, picture, have her character fully developed. At one point, they were actually considering to make it an animated series. Charlize Theron loved the backstory so much, he actually talked to Miller and said, "Oh my God, wouldn't it be awesome if you did this movie first?" And it was Miller. They decided to go with Fury Road. And because time passed by, instead of using Charlize Theron or de-aging her with CGI technology, they went with a younger actress, 2 actresses, Anna Taylor-Joy for the adult sequence, and the other actress, I believe her name is Aaliyah Brown, but I'm not entirely sure on that. And so this time around, another big budget production cost $168 million. At present, it's made $65 million worldwide. Surprisingly, an underwhelming Memorial Day weekend box office. According to this, the worst box office since is box office is in line with the Memorial Day weekend box office of 1995. Prize and a
people had money back then.
When Casper led the box office.
Yeah,
Bill Pullman.
Casper beat Braveheart. I vividly remember that, actually.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Good guy.
But this is within the budget realm, maybe slightly less of Fury Road. It was cost $168 million. And interestingly enough, this is set, Fury Road took place over, 3 days. This story takes place 15 to 20 years before the events of Fury Road and is a coming of age saga about Furiosa's character. Interestingly enough, George Miller said that he envisioned Furiosa's story starting slightly after the time period of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And then he clarified and he said, though that's where I thought it was beginning in my mind, he himself commented on the fact that the timeline in the Mad Max universe is nebulous, which kind of connects with your point, B, where you're saying that the timeline is loose. And so he himself confirmed that in a statement, a theory which you have mentioned for the past several films. So you and George Miller are on the same plane. And so, in terms of the production, there was some development hell, not because this was going to be actually shot back to back with Fury Road. And then as time worked out that it took a lot longer, but they did go back to, I believe, Australia for this production. And in May 2022, which I vividly remember, Miller confirmed to Deadline Hollywood that second unit filming was underway in Australia in advance of principal photography. And I was extremely excited because I remember a shot of him and Chris Hemsworth and Anna Taylor-Joy like at this conference. And I vividly remember where I was standing, looking at my phone at that moment going, oh my God, there's going to be a Furiosa movie in 2024, 2 years out. I was very excited. This time, Warner Brothers began its marketing push in 2023. And I don't know the marketing budget, but the movie was generally positively reviewed. Reception was positive from the audience that did see it, but a surprising low box office. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting it to be huge, but very underperforming Memorial Day weekend in general, which we'll discuss later. But please jump in and add anything else, because I'm sure there's more data in there. My report's a bit thin tonight. My apologies, but
it's okay.
Yeah,
you covered we both covered covered the box office, and that's what I was going to mention too. So that's great. But Lenny, I want to hear your thoughts on Furiosa.
This is this may tick some people off, and it may not that are listening, but honestly, I loved it. Honestly, I thought every moment of it was so fun and so well developed in a very different way than Fury Road. I think the only way that would have made people happy, in any regards, is they're like, hey, here's Fury Road, but with Furiosa, and it's like, he's already told that story with Fury Road. Why do we need to see that again? Personally, I hate prequels. I've said this many times to many people. I hate flashbacks in films. I hate when directors ask me to write them. I just hate them in general because it's a storytelling device that hardly ever works. And even in this, I'm like, well, why do we need a Furiosa story? And then, I was watching it and I said, well, it didn't matter. That question didn't matter when I was watching it, because he was telling a good story. He was telling a masterpiece of a story, actually. in a very different way than what we've seen before from George Miller in directing these films. And you realize it's not so much even, it's not Mad Max's story, it's Furiosa's story. So why can't we just enjoy that? And people are like, oh, well, now he's doing, I'm like, no, this is nothing like the Phantom Menace. What a Phantom Menace with George Lucas said, I'm going to sneeze and we're going to embarrass myself, This was something that, no, it's true, but that's what he did.
I agree.
And let's be honest, and it's stupid, but this was actually like a really classy, well thought, well developed production. I do think that Fury Road was definitely more of a feminist bend to it, but I don't think, and I'd be interested to hear, Brianna's ideas on it too. But I don't know that it did. I think it was more of a male centric revenge story. But for me, I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. I worried about Anna Taylor-Joy was going to be too small for the role, but she was great. And the younger actress too, whose name escapes me now, Sam just said it, I thought she was great too. And I thought every moment of this worked. I agree with Sam too. I was surprised by the box office being so low, but then I wasn't, because people generally suck and they didn't want the movie to succeed. They wanted to be able to rag on it. And I think that's a real difference. I've seen filmmakers complain that I've known about, and I know, and they're like, this is, and I'm so sick of hearing it, like, oh my God, I can't believe he actually did this. Fury Road was great. Fury Road happened 9 years ago, and just, it was a completely different time, and he's doing something different, and he's doing something that, I don't think that many people wanted to see things get blown up. That's great. He's done that. We've seen that. We have 4 movies of that. That's great. But I feel like this harkens to something new for him, a new territory. Hemsworth was great, I thought. I thought he did some of the best work of his career. And I think that, it was just a strong movie for me. Anyway, I have many other points, but I don't want to hold up. But I saw a post that you made, Nathan, too, about they should wait for the streaming window because it's no longer special. I agree with that very much, because sure, it has a big budget, but now, honestly, you go to the theater and they've made it so you don't want to go to the theater. It's outpriced. I can afford it, but it's people out there who cannot afford it, who are going to get a digital copy from their friend and see on their TV and to look even better. So what's the incentive of seeing this in the theater? There's not much for people except losing $60, and why not keep the $60?
That is a whole nother conversation that is aggravating me, how fast movies are coming to that digital window. Like Fall Guy, 3 weeks later, was it 2 weeks later?
Disaster, yeah.
And I have already, by the way, I already pre-ordered this on 4K.
Me too.
Oh, okay? It's coming out in the first week in July, I think, is what the rumors are. So,
well, it doesn't help it doesn't help that we're declaring it a flop 24 hours after it is released.
It creates this
self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is, exactly.
Yep. It's killing the fun. I had issues with the Fall Guy, but it definitely did not need to come out 2 weeks after it was released. Yeah. Honestly, it just didn't. And that's the thing.
Barbenheimer got us back.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So people are complaining about this and this and this and this, but in a certain sense, studios have turned against their audience, and I also think the star system is gone. So I also think that the thing that this was missing, actually, to make it a really big success, and this is terrible to say, but had it been a movie with Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy, I think the box office would have gone up, honestly. And I hate to say that, but there's no more movie stars left.
I want to touch on that, Lenny. In my
Oh, sure.
I have thoughts.
And this
it's just, and I think, I think that the time of the movie star has ended. There's only one movie star left that people go to see, and it ain't Ben Affleck. It's not even Matt Damon. It's Tom Cruise. And even he's having problems opening up films. But even so, you see Tom Cruise in a movie doing an action film, it's Tom Cruise. It's his new movie.
Well, wait for Glenn Powell just explode.
Oh, God. That's what they're trying to push. This Glenn Powell guy who's like, hey, I'm from the Midwest. Hey, I'm this scary guy. It's like the dude is the most boring motherfucker I've ever seen on screen. It's like, I'm not, he's probably a great dude. He's probably great. Like, I hear actually that's a lot. He really is though. I mean, I hear he's great in the Hitman Richard Linklater movie that's coming on Netflix next week.
Yeah, it's coming out soon.
I think so too. That there's a thing in American culture that's like now, instant, pleasure.
Mm.
And so when a movie doesn't like do well right away, they're like I have read so many articles and so many newspapers. Oh, films are doomed forever. The box office is screwed. And then a couple months go by and an enormous hit comes out and they're like, the box office is back. But the thing is, it never was gone. Some people, audiences still come out. They're just a little particular outside the pandemic.
Right.
But I don't think the theatrical experience is dead at all. And I don't even think that's like a naive optimism. I just think that American culture is so instant gratifying that if something doesn't perform in a second, they're like, oh, it's fucked. You know what I mean? But it's like there's still hope. Yeah.
Instead of reevaluating our metrics, we're just declaring everything a flop because we're comparing it to pre-pandemic standards. And there's this consistent panic that's happening. And I don't know. I'm over
Lenny,
it.
Are you telling me this doesn't give you a little something?
If you feel it,
I can't wait.
I've been so excited about Twisters that if Twisters does not do well, my life will have no meaning. So it better succeed.
Oh God! No one wants to see this film. You can put you can literally put Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton's corpse in it, and nobody will show up.
I'm going to say Sam Cole, May 28th.
Sam and B are showing up for it.
Sam Cole, May 28th, 9:11 p.m. Twisters is going to be a hit. Nathan, record this. Sam Cole, May 28th, 9:11 p.m. Twisters is going to be a hit.
Is it July or
July 19th?
Yeah, July.
Oh yeah. Anyways, Lenny, if you had to, I know we have to everyone get in here. If you had to give this a movie a rating from 1 to 5, you can go half stars as well. But what would you give this?
So I'm gonna first. I would say two things out there. Deadpool, the new Deadpool will reinvigorate the theater, like Sam is saying. I guarantee you in that. That will give that the box office boost, and everybody who's like, "Oh my God, theaters are back!" And then it'll go away again. And then Joker 2 will come out and possibly do the same thing again. However, that being said, this movie, honestly, the more I left on it, the more I sat with it. I have to give it I mean, there's issues with it, sure, here and there, but every movie has an issue with it. I give it 5. It's fantastic. I loved it.
5 out of 5.
It's great. It was great. 5 out of 5. Yeah, absolutely. It was great. 100%.
Okay.
All right, Nathan, go.
All right. I got to go. I have to follow that. Someone who loves it.
Good luck.
All right. Anyways, so I've been ping-ponging a lot. So where I landed this movie, it is really ambitious. It's so big and it's big in scope. And for the most part, I enjoyed really so many parts of this film, but it's possible that this is a scenario where I think the sum of the parts are greater than the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Up to this point, every film in this franchise has been a very simple A to B storyline. And here we have George Miller throwing the entire kitchen sink in the franchise, which is cool. And I'm glad that this is doing something different. However, as I'm watching this, I felt two polar opposite reactions tugging at me. One was absolute glee with the spectacle of this film. And there's just some outstanding set pieces in this, most notably the big set piece at the Bullet Farm. And also there's a great action driving sequence with Furiosa and Praetorian Jack, where it's reminiscent of the type of action we're getting some of that in Fury Road, but it was even amped up even bigger than that. So, but at the same time, I felt like I was watching Mad Max's greatest hits show. This is the first film in the franchise that I feel like it's fully conscious of its past lore. The previous 3 sequels all have felt like they could be watched and enjoyed independently of each other. But Furiosa is steeped in the past and in the future, and it's dependent on its audience bringing baggage to the franchise. And I would say, unfortunately, this franchise's agenda has shifted to creating a franchise now, which now has me a bit concerned, because I think one of the strengths of these films is the lack of cohesion sometimes. Just like older James Bond films where they can all kind of live independently. I would like to see, that's how I kind of like, we've talked about this on all the other films. Like they can live
like
as
serialization
lore and myth telling and things like that. I still look forward to Tom Hardy and probably Charlize Theron returning and completing like a trilogy of these. But I'm also totally fine with this franchise being rebooted later on with different actors and maybe different filmmakers who, and sharing different visions of this Mad Max dystopian future. And I guess finally I'll just say I did like this movie, but I didn't love it. Definitely not as much as Lenny did, as much as I hoped I would. And I think it suffers from the same problem that like Solo, a Star Wars story, does.
I thought of Solo too.
It gives us answers to questions that I didn't have. So I liked it. I liked it. I just didn't love it. And I could have lived the rest of my life without knowing all of this information about Furiosa's backstory, and I would have been just as fine finding out what happened after Fury Road. And it didn't have to be Fury Road 2. I would have been fine with just continuing that. And I think, as you point out, Lenny, I think that movie would have been a more successful sequel than this. So I really question why this movie, why now, why this movie is my biggest thing. And I'm really scratching my head. And you pointed out, I think, was it you, Lenny? I posted like George, this is a great movie, but George Miller will never get this budget again.
Oh, he's never going to.
No,
he's never going to after this. This is, I mean, I'm going to be realistic. Yeah. One point I'm just going to throw your way, Nathan, too, with this. And I know that Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy didn't get along on set.
No.
That being said, then I'm going to push them in another direction. But you have the two perfect actors and actress, to play those roles, and they're still here in their prime. Why not utilize them in their prime? That was my issue.
Right.
My one issue with the film, I will say.
Yep.
I think it hurts at the box office to have a prequel of a movie that also didn't soar at the box office, that doesn't feature any of the cast members. Like, I think that's a factor when we look at how this movie performed.
And so again, my rating is going to sound harsh, but it's because I'm putting it below Fury Road and I'm putting it below The Road Warrior, but I still like this movie. I'm giving it a 3.5.
It's good.
And I'm going to say, I feel like I still need to say, I mean, I only saw it 4 days ago and it needs to gel with me, and it might go up over time. I liked it enough where I immediately pre-ordered the 4K. So I can't wait. I may see it again in the theater. I feel like it warrants another viewing in the theater, but I can't wait to see it again, just to live in that, see that world on the big screen again. Yeah. Anyways, B, I think you're up.
Oof. Yeah, I see where both of you are coming from with this one. I really had a great time in the movie theater watching this. I went to IMAX to go see it, and the theater was well attended. There were a lot of people. I went on Thursday night at the AMC in Boston Common.
By the way, can I say mine was empty. I went to Providence Place at the IMAX there last Friday night. It was a 9:45 screening. There were about 12 people at that theater. I could not believe it on a Friday night, empty. So
Sean.
Mine was pretty full, so I was happy about that. But I thought this was a great movie. I think George Miller is a master filmmaker, and I'm not really sure why this is the story he wanted to tell either, but I'm not mad about it. I think it's a story that he told really well. To your point about the kitchen sink, Nathan, I think this movie gives with us all of the amazing things. Lenny, I've been saying every podcast, I'm sure folks are sick of hearing it, but that George Miller has a vision for how he wants to make Mad Max in his head. And every time he gets more money, he just tries again. And he tries to make that movie.
So I have a story about that, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I think you see that in the first war rig sequence, right? We've got these awesome pilots coming down now. Now there's this this crazy 8-armed, incredible octopus thing is awesome. And the action sequences in this are so good. But with that, you also get him throwing in some things from earlier films that I don't love. I thought this was the most talky Mad Max movie. And I didn't quite need all that dialogue. I think there's a lot of power when we strip the dialogue away. I'm also of the opinion that Mad Max has a villain problem, and here we have two good villains, but there's two of them, and I'm not sure that the whole villain triangle really works for me. Chris Hemsworth is insane. I've never seen him do anything like this. I do think sometimes it feels like he's in a different movie than Anya Taylor-Joy. And I'm not really sure how I jive with that. My biggest gripe with this movie, I was really surprised about this, was the way it looked. I thought some of the effects were just not there. I thought the CGI in Fury Road was better. That being said, I thought the story was great. I mean, George Miller tackling an epic. This felt very much like the soul sister of 3,000 Years of Longing, more than it did Fury Road. So
yeah, I felt so too, yeah.
If you've seen 3,000 Years of Longing, which I think is a beautiful film, it very much felt of an ilk with that movie. I thought that was really special. And I think George Miller has such a tenderness for his characters and really cares about why they feel the way they feel and letting them process those emotions throughout the film. So I thought all of that was great. At the end of the day, it's high octane. It's super fun. It's a great story. It's an epic tale. It's a little funny. It's a little perverse. It's a little self-serious in some fun ways that we've seen him be before. I enjoyed it. I give it a 4 out of 5. It doesn't top Fury Road for me, but it's a good movie.
All right. Thank you. Sam.
So I hear your guys' reviews 100%. And Nathan, I'm actually in line with your perspective on this one for slightly different reasons. I loved the opening of this movie when it's that CGI shot that goes around, that zooms in on Australia and goes into the canyon of the green place. The beginning of the film when she's plucked away from her home and she's tracked down by her mother. I was watching that and I was thinking to myself, this is the best Mad Max I've ever seen. Like, this movie starts off perfectly. And
I actually think that's one of the most interesting new versions of a chase sequence we've seen George Miller do. Like, that's a silent movie, 2-person chase. It's pared down. It's super strong.
It's pared down. It's super strong. It's elemental. It was very suspenseful. And so I liked this movie. I definitely enjoyed this movie, and a lot of all of your points, I definitely agree with that. I think for me, the issue is Nathan, I am on your page with the sort of Miller and the kitchen sink thing. The other thing I think for me is this movie tries to go towards the epic, and it goes towards a coming of age epic where we see Furiosa become who she is. And to me, I both love it and I also find it frustrating because it's almost there, but there's a bit of a montage style to this film where the film is divided up into chapters, which was a device that I didn't mind. And even though these are totally different films, bear with me for a second because I have a point. But when you see a film like Barry Lyndon or Gladiator or even Lawrence of Arabia, where these characters are kind of blown around by the wind through forces and they grow and things happen, a lot of those movies to me progress perfectly. And for me, I think my main issue with this film is that we would follow Furiosa, a scene would develop, and right at a moment where I needed some connective tissue, it would fade out and dissolve to the next chapter. And I felt a little deprived of in-between sequences that I wanted to see. For example, one of them, Furiosa, she's going to be one of the wives, and the horror of her being impregnated and that terrible. She escapes. She climbs down the thing. We see the passage of time where a tree branch is growing in fast time motion. And all of a sudden she's a war boy and no one noticed that she vanished. And the connective tissue, those pieces in between of her scaling the rest of that cliff, maybe hiding in those grungy caves where those people are feeding off maggots. I wanted a little bit of that connective tissue. And so this film, to me, when you said, Nathan, where the parts are greater than the sum of the whole, I think part of the reason for that is it has these excellent parts, but the totality of the whole doesn't quite add up for me. Perfect example. You've got that excellent set piece in the middle of the film where it's her and Praetorian Jack, and the faction that's against the war rig is coming in on those parasailing, they're flying in. It's a great action scene,
amazing,
but it's a little bit nebulous and episodic. And one of the things about Fury Road that I like is because it's driven by the plot. She takes the war rig and she takes Immortan Joe's wives, and he's like, holy shit, send everyone after her. It's story oriented. In this film was just an action set piece that's great, but the consequences were a little bit low to me because they'll just kill off this side faction, and it's just a setup for her and Jack to like, unite and get close. So I felt not quite manipulated by that, but if there was a story reason, if the stakes were emotionally higher for that. And so what I feel with this movie is I get a bunch of scenes that are all awesome. I like Chris Hemsworth. I actually thought Chris Hemsworth was excellent. I love his speech in the Wasteland towards the end of the film where he's like, nothing means anything. We're all in hell and this and that. But again, there's something about this movie that feels like 5 great chapters. And if they'd gotten rid of the chapter structure and created a screenplay that just where the story tissue just organically moved from one piece to the next, just a little bit smoother, this could have been the greatest epic in the entire Mad Max saga. And to me, it slightly misses the mark. I was highly entertained. I really enjoyed it, but I just could not deny this feeling that I was having in the theater of, I just feel a little bit of an emotional disconnect from this. So I would sum up and say, I like this movie a lot. I wish there was a bit of that connective tissue. And strangely enough, I agree with you on the CGI. I thought some of it was great. And I thought there were some shots where Miller was more reliant on it than he was in past films, saying, I don't want to go through all that, getting all those cars together this time. Let's just show a CGI wide shot and have all the vehicles. Even the set piece in the middle, which I loved, I felt a convenience level to it. He's like, okay, we have the war rig. We have like 5 other floating, Parahawks. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a little bit easier for me to film. Like, he was more interested in the epic storytelling, and he would pare down that dialed to 11 action that was just like unbelievably ambitious in Fury Road. And I missed it a little bit. I will say on a positive note to end this review that I have a feeling that this movie might grow on me with multiple viewings, and I feel there's a lot to unpack with it. And so I will, I'm Nathan, the same exact, I'm going to give this film 3.5 stars because I just have a feeling as I watch this movie over the years that it's going to go up a little bit because there's a lot to enjoy. And I would probably put it in 3rd place as well in the entire saga. So definitely not a negative review. I liked it a lot. I just feel like it gets so close to being an almost coming of age epic. And like, I love I love seeing epic films where you start with a character in childhood and you go to adulthood. And this almost got there, but I did felt that she became a little bit of a secondary character sometimes. And there was a little bit of that talkiness. And also the Citadel to me seemed emptier than I remembered it in Fury Road. It seemed like a lot more stuff, and it was a little bit. I was underwhelmed, but that being said, my review is positive because I always love going back to the world of Mad Max. I hope this movie builds an audience over time. I'll say that lastly, I'll say the action scene where I felt that I was the most shortchanged was that huge set piece. The bullet farm was great, but before that, Immortan Joe, he calls their bluff and he's sending people to the bullet farm and he thinks that Chris Hemsworth is not going to attack the Citadel. And then when he does, it devolves into this montage where for 40 days and for 40 nights they had the battle. And I was like, oh my God, I wanted to see that action scene. And lastly,
that reminded me
then you have a 3-hour movie.
Exactly.
That reminded me of the beginning of Road Warrior. Like, it just felt like he was throwing all these elements.
He was
from
throwing
other
all the
movies
pieces, or like when they go to the Citadel and they try to like
cohesive.
Exactly, they try to be partners, and then Immortan Joe is like, "I'm going to kill you all." An action scene starts, and I'm starting to feel this cathartic feeling, and then it just cuts and dissolves and shows them hiding on the outside of Gastown, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess they escaped, but like, I just feel that the montage style of the film denied me I wanted to get into those action scenes a bit more. And I feel if they'd like stripped down a little of the talking and streamline the script, this movie is almost an epic. It's almost there, but it's not quite there. 3.5 stars for me.
I think to Lenny's point, I think it's missing a little bit of star power too.
Yeah.
I don't think Anya Taylor-Joy is gritty enough for this role.
Yeah, and that was my issue. Yeah.
I don't think she had a lot of chemistry with Praetorian Jack, which is a character I'm just a little soft on anyway. But
it was weird because it also was like a Tom Hardy Mad Max stand-in also, which felt like what is.
Well, like, I was kind of like maybe that engenders. Maybe that's why she kind of trusts Tom Hardy a little bit in the second movie.
Yeah. Well, the actor's name is Tom Burke, so I think it's like we call him Tom Softy, I guess.
Tom Softy,
you know.
But again, like you're saying, Sam,
like he looked like him, and
I think
he's got the shoulder pads. It's obviously an homage, or we're supposed to be thinking of.
I did like the real Mad Max cameo where you just see Mad Max in his car up on the cliff, and he's.
I didn't like that. I thought it was pandering.
Yeah,
I thought that was great.
Again.
It
worked
on me.
Shot,
Pander to me, baby.
Point.
Yeah. Again, to your point, Sam, like I really like this. I feel like my tone is disappointed sounding, but I really had a great time at the theaters for this. It's just so hard to get as excited about it as I did Fury Road.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you guys too is 3 things. I had three really interesting points. I appreciate all your stuff on it too. My 3 points on it though are this, and I wasn't excited about this film going to see it at all. I had no excitement going to see it. And it sounds weird. Like I don't really have excitement to go through a lot of films. I'm like, okay, I'm excited, I guess to see it. Like I was excited about Fury Road more than I was excited about this. I was like, oh, there's no Tom Hardy. It's almost like a chore. I gotta go sit through this shit so I get to the Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron stuff. And that's kind of how I approached it. Like, oh my God, I gotta go through this crap. So I get that. But I was pleasantly surprised even so. And I agree with you about Anya Taylor-Joy, but I thought she worked enough to make the film work to me, enough, as far as circle. But even so I watched it, and that was my first point where I said, and I felt I actually processed things quicker. So for me, when I was watching the film, I felt just like Nathan and Sam. I'm like, this is 3.5 stars, maybe 3. Nothing's happening. What the hell, man? Like, what's going on? I'm sitting there, let's let it go, and my mind starts processing quicker, and I'm like replaying every scene as it's happening. And as I left throughout the day, I feel like the Grinch. And I was like this. And I'm like, okay, how do I give my review? Like, what's going on? Like, what line when I do it? And I'm like the Grinch. So I'm like, this is me watching and repeat. So I don't really need to repeat viewing. I will watch it again. But then I'm like, kind of like my face really smiled at that point. Like really sad to like really smile. Because the reason I liked it were the exact reasons that, Sam questioned it. And so much is like, do we really need to see that war? Do we really need to see those things? Do we really need to? And I get the point of those things. And I do think it does miss the epic mark for sure. But I sat there and I said, I kind of like that. It kind of didn't give us those things. I didn't really need those, those action set pieces. I really liked the whole of it. And he was going for something different. Now I'm going to tell you, this is something that you guys may not believe, but George Miller does not give a shit. Like he doesn't. He does not give a shit. Yeah. That's what I appreciate about that. Like he knew people wanted Fury Road again. He did not give a shit that you wanted Fury Road. He doesn't care what you want. And that's part of what makes him a genius. What I loved about this. So here's a story about George Miller that I can't wait to share. So I was excited about hearing about a new Mad Max movie called Fury Road at Comic-Con. It was filmed. They started filming. I heard in 2009. I don't know if you ever heard this story. They started like getting together, and I think it really started shooting in like 2011, something like that, right? You're wondering what happened with it. So there's some backstory. A lot of people may not know about this. So I have the San Diego Comic-Con book. I go to San Diego Comic-Con. They were supposed to show Mad Max Fury Road, the trailer and all the stuff, and it was actually listed for Hall H in 2012. Great story about that. It came out in 2015. What happened to it? Like a couple of weeks before the show, when we're getting ready, they're like, "Oh, the studio has pulled the panel," and nobody could figure out why. Do you guys know the reason why?
No.
Nope.
The studio fucking hated what they saw. They hated it so much that they said, "We cannot release this." They thought they were getting a reboot of Mad Max, like a total complete start reboot, and they gave them Fury Road, and they're like, "What the hell is this? Like, what is this?" So they pulled it, and I guess like there was some behind the scenes. There was a lot of like chaos behind the scenes. Yeah. The rumor I had from someone that I will not name said that the studio hated it so much that they didn't understand why he made a sequel of sorts to Beyond Thunderdome. And like they gave him all this money, and he thought that, I guess somebody didn't actually look at what he had written. So this is what I hear. So 2013 came by, we're all like, where the hell's Mad Max Fury Road? We want to see it. It's supposed to be here in 2012. Why did it get delayed? 2014 shows up. He shows up with the Mad Max Fury Road trailer. And I see George Miller on stage, and the guy can care less. And I guess what ended up happening was he didn't like what they saw, so he reshot a lot of it, and he cut out most of the dialogue out of the film. And people in the studio were like, what the hell? When they released it, it wasn't released on Memorial Day. It was released before Memorial Day. And the studio had like literally very little faith in the film until the advanced buzz started getting into it. And then it took off, and that's why nobody was expecting it. So it was like a out of nowhere kind of thing. Like it was like it seems like it goes out of nowhere. But you got to remember, this guy's made this last Mad Max film 30 years ago, and the studio thinks they're getting a remake from this guy. And it's like, oh my God, like what the fuck did he give us? He gave us a movie.
And thank God we had a stupid remake. No,
it's amazing.
But I
did not know that.
George Miller made exactly
the
kind of movie he wanted to make. You know, I don't think any of us are smarter than George Miller. You know, I think he made exactly the kind of movie that he set out to make with this, which was a pivot from how he normally tells the story.
Mm-hmm. I will say that this Mad Max has the best, like the night lighting, the way the desert looked at night, and some of those shots was beautiful.
With color, I do love the color grading.
Yeah, so I agree with every point that everybody makes, but I love the fact I'd rather see something like this than these freaking people spitting shit out. You know, like I mean,
totally.
It wasn't like a Star Wars film for me. It wasn't like anything like that. Like any Star Wars film I've seen, I'm like, okay. There's a meme going around, and I laughed at the last one, the J.J. Abrams Star Wars, because those feel like, okay, this here basically to make you cheer. The first one, the Force Awakens make you cheer. The second one I like because Rian Johnson pissed everybody off, and I think that's I think that was great. But the third one, you kind of watch it, and there's a point where even Oscar Isaac, there's a meme going on that says somehow Palpatine survived. You know, and I think that's great. I think that's for him is so great in that film.
Yeah.
But that's what every Star Wars feels like to me, you know. And this is not that. So I even rather people be mad about it and be like, why the fuck did George Miller make this? And they're never gonna give him. Maybe they will. Maybe someone like
it's possible if this has legs and it gets the following that it has, and they realize that the people are clamoring for more of this, even though if it is not a success, it's possible. It's just the demand to complete this whatever trilogy this is.
I'm admit
the studios will.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say I will admit too that I tried to like hide it, but I had like huge expectations. So where you just went into the theater, Lenny, and were like, I hope this is okay. And then it turns out to be awesome. I was the opposite, where I felt that Star Wars level of like, this is the movie of the year. This is the movie of the year. And I was watching it nervously the whole time. Like, oh, this is good. I hope it's as good as I think. Like I set the bar high subconsciously, unintentionally intended to it. It just happened inside my brain, you know?
Yeah, I did too.
I literally have no expectations for anything when I go, and I always go with the idea that I have a level. Like I don't have I honestly, literally, I don't know how I've mastered this. I'm excited to go to the theater. I'm like, I'm leaving the house, hooray! You know, and that's more exciting to me than sitting in a theater. But then I'm like, okay, this is my level. This is like literally the Fall Guy. I'm like, oh, and people are like, this is great. I'm like, but is it really? I think we're getting excited for maybe some of the wrong reasons here. But but there was some stuff I'm like, oh, this is great. You know, I'll give you an example. Like every movie I'm excited about, even like something like Joker 2, which is probably something I'm really gonna enjoy. I'm gonna go to the theater. I'm gonna be like, all right, it's all right. You know, mostly because I see a lot of. Well, I don't see a lot of theater anymore, but I just see a lot of theater, and I'm not putting anyone down. But most of the time when I go to theater, about 10 minutes in, I want to leave. Like you would not fucking believe. And when I'm like because people are doing the same stuff and they're just kind of repeating the same beats. And so I'm like, oh God, and I just want, and that's, I actually wrote a play that's coming out in the fall about that. And you get to see my neuroses on stage where I talk about that. And it's like literally how, people invite me to like, oh, come see A Christmas Carol. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, okay, I'll go see A Christmas Carol, right? I guess I haven't seen A Christmas Carol because of this reason. And I go there, and it's a 3-hour version of Christmas Carol. And about 10 minutes in, I'm like, I want to like jump out the fucking window or pull the fire alarm because I cannot wait to get out of there. Because you see people doing like, oh, hello, I can't even get the accent right. You're like, oh shit. but I have literal expectations like that. I'm not being mean.
No, I hear you.
There's an audience for that. Yeah, it's an audience for that. It's called family. But anyway, but that's the truth. I go into the same thing in the movie theaters. I don't ever really get that excited. I might get excited that something's coming out, but I never get excited because I think it's maybe because I go to like, even if I go to like someplace, like I go to Comic-Con every year and I get excited to see things, like I can't wait to see Deadpool 2, but I have no expectations of it. Like literally, it's probably going to be, let's face it. How many films has Ryan Reynolds done where you sit there going, what the fuck did I just watch? Jesus Christ.
Well, that's the thing. I get excited for the trailer. Like when I see a trailer of a movie, I make up the rest of the movie in my mind. And I'm like, I can't wait to see this movie. Then I go see the actual movie and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. Burr,
I actually stopped trying to watch trailers, believe it or not. I tried so hard to stop watching
actually
trailers.
avoid most
I typically go in blind,
Yeah, I just can't stand them anymore. Because what you're doing, you're sitting there, like, I did see a piece of this when it's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything. Any dicks out there are going to write into the show. There's a moment where he goes, do you have a chance, do you have what it's in you to make it epic? I'm like, oh, God, when's that point coming in the film? Oh, it's here, and I can't stand it. So I made myself a promise when I directed the film. I put online. Yeah, there it is. That fucking Ryan. So the thing I did was when I made it. So the makers of the movie Kick-Ass. Have you guys seen the movie Kick-Ass?
Yes.
Yeah. The reason why that did so well, I made it my point when I directed the film myself. They said we're gonna show the first third of the movie in any trailers ever. Yeah. And I thought that was brilliant because when they showed only the first third, you're like, what's going to happen? What's next? They showed like the end of the first act, and that's it. And that's all I'll ever show at any point. I'm never going to show another trailer of anything I do if I direct beyond this, because in the film I put on my wall, there's nothing you see that's beyond the first act. There's stuff that's not even past the first 10 minutes. Right? That's the way you do it, because why would you show that anyway? Yeah,
it would be funny if the trailer for The Lion King was just like Mufasa dying and that was it. And it was just like, The Lion King.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh!
Yeah. Well, we need a marketing tool for that. Something that says, hey, because they're like, well, we saved the best stuff for the trailers. And I'm like, oh, God, well, thanks, guys.
Or the trailer for The Departed is just Leo DiCaprio getting shot in the elevator. And it's like The Departed. And it just shows that shot where he's like, and then cut The Departed.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about this film before you have to head out, Lenny?
No, I'm good. I think I made my peace with it.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
What are the last questions you have? I have other. I can answer.
I don't know. I don't have any other questions. I just want to know if there's anything else
Nathan, I meant to ask you. Nathan, you must have been annoyed by this. How they brought out the guitar player, your favorite character, in that montage. Where it's like, there he is, yay, whatever.
The whole third act. There's a part of the third act that was fan service, which I did not like. That 40-day war, whatever it is, and they brought out a lot of that imagery of Fury Road, which I thought I didn't like. And again, I haven't really said anything about my thoughts on Chris Hemsworth. Something I did want to talk about, and I don't think I'm kind of mixed on it. I on one hand, I thought he was a great villain and a fun character. He's cartoony, flamboyant. I think he fits right in with this world.
Yep.
But if you're gonna, if you're gonna be enemies with a Morton Joe, and you can't be another brooding, hulking figure. And I like the fact that he's totally completely fresh in the franchise. But Miller does something in this film which he's never done in any of the other films, and he makes a villain a central character, which I thought was interesting. We spend a lot of time with Dementus, and there's a part of me that thinks that if he remained more of a mythical figure where we're left wanting more, I would have enjoyed his character a lot more, because we get a lot of him hamming it up, and I do like him. He could have his own sideshow, and I could watch him just riff and he'd be great he's really good, but there's so much of it, and I got his shtick after as well. And this is just one of my little gripes with it, is that it's just so much. We get so much of these characters. And another thing is, Morton Joe, I thought we had just the right amount of him in Fury Road. And I thought it was just so odd that we're going back to the Citadel and we're seeing him at a younger age, but we don't, at the same time, we're not like getting any of his backstory. Not that I wanted to learn more. I'm glad we did not get to learn about how Morton Joe became Morton Joe, and they tried to cram more of that into it. But it's this weird uncanny valley type thing where we keep. This is why I'm going back to the whole Star Wars thing. Even though this is not like, I'm not comparing it to Star Wars, but this movie made Mad Max franchise feel small, because here we are. We're back at Gastown. We're at the Bullet Farm. We're at the Citadel. I wanted this world to get bigger. And instead, we're in the same 3 locations, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just like we did, I feel like, in Fury Road. Telling a great story, but it's the same characters, same locations, and I felt like our world just got smaller, the way that Star Wars does, giving us Obi-Wan Kenobi's backstory or Solo's backstory, telling me new stories. And this was one of my gripes with this. I don't care about a Morton Joe 18 years earlier.
Well, I have to get going, but I do have 2 things to say, and Nathan, I'll let you guys continue. Morton Joe looked fucking great. I don't care what you say.
I'm not complaining. He did.
No, literally, like I was kind of thinking about swinging the that way. I don't know which way it would be, the apocalypse way. But here's a thought for you guys before I leave. A real good thought. So, and something that really bothers me, and someone said it, and I can't get it out of my head now. The whole point of these characters is they're tearing the fucking Wasteland apart for gas, right? That's pretty much it, right? They're looking for gas, like gas, like
gas.
They spend more fucking gas looking for gas than anyone I've ever seen in my life. Like, am I wrong? But I mean, that's the truth. They're like literally, like, we're gonna get gas in a tanker. Let's take 10 cars. And I'm like, you do the math, and you're like, holy shit. Like, you're losing gas, right? Am I wrong?
No, that's true. That's true. I will say,
and using flamethrowers, which use gas.
Yeah.
No, exactly. They've got they got a 1-track mind. I will say that a random comment, but Miller did mention that the other Mad Max movie idea he had was called Mad Max the Wasteland, and I wonder if that has anything to do with that 40-day night battle that we saw in a montage.
Well. He's supposed to do another one. He wants to do a prequel to this one too. And oh god, we need another prequel. Yeah. That's it. We have to suffer through it, and then maybe we'll get Rise of Skywalker or something. Anyway,
it just has that.
Guys,
it's got that fill in the pieces, like fill in the blanks. It's like, oh, did you ever want to know what Han Solo did in the 2 weeks between when he celebrated the battle of Endor, and you're just like, no, I didn't want to know. So yeah,
Lenny, I know you got to go, but I didn't get to ask you, where can people find you if they want to learn about where you do your plays or anything? Please plug.
Oh, go to Facebook. Go to Facebook, Instagram. I'm on Threads. What the fuck that is? I hit the wrong button. Sorry. I'm on Threads. Oh, good. Just come find me. You can find me. Come on. Find me on Facebook. If you friend me on Facebook, though, there's a waiting list. I hit 5,000 friends. I'm about 60 people deep. I just like to piss people off, and then I'm like, okay, click a new person. Never you guys. I love you guys.
I'll message you, and I'll put links in the show notes to where people can find your theater company and any other things. We'll talk later. All right.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hi, Lenny. Good to see you.
Bye.
Good to see you. Take care. Bye. Take care.
Hello. I don't disagree with you about Chris Hemsworth. I wish it was Furiosa's movie a little bit more.
I have a problem with the title, that this should just be Furiosa. There's no Mad Max in this movie, and I know it was done for marketing.
No, exactly.
It's in the world. But
it's tied in. I know.
I do think there's some interesting, the character itself of who Chris Hemsworth, Dementis' character, Fury Road asks us who killed the world, and the idea that it's asshats and idiots like Dementis, the banality of evil. I think that's a fascinating nugget for Miller to take a hold of. It's just not his movie. It's Furiosa's movie, except it isn't.
Let's see. Any other notes in this? I have 1 or 2 other things here. There's a scene in Fury Road. Is this in Fury Road? I'm talking about Fury Road, but maybe I mean Furiosa. I'm just having notes here. There's a scene in Fury Road that ends up. Oh, I saw it. It's not just cool set piece. It's also a great character moment for both Max and Furiosa. What is this here? Maybe I'm wrong here. Oh, so here's something it is. So remember when they're stuck in the mud in Fury Road with Max and Furiosa? It's when the war rig, they're stuck in the mud and the bullet farmer is closing in, he's shooting at them.
Yep.
Max is unable to shoot them, but with a sniper rifle, but he hands it over to Furiosa and she takes them out. It's established then that she's this expert marksman.
Yeah.
Markswoman? I don't know.
I think it's okay.
Okay. In this film, it seems that everyone is an expert marksman. Like the skills that people have that hit moving targets across hundreds of meters is just nonsense.
Yeah.
Like people are just going on these motorcycles over these mountains and they're just being taken out. Like I know you have to suspend disbelief at times, but I thought I was laughing. I thought it was kind of silly how these guys are getting taken out on these bikes here. I don't know if anyone else thought it was kind of ridiculous.
Didn't even occur to me, but I hear what you're saying.
No, I felt that I think that indirectly ties in with what you're saying, Nathan, where there's a self-awareness to this film. That, you know, the thing is, like, there's a lot of sniper shooting in the Mad Max like PlayStation video game, and I almost feel like this film was like capitalizing on like, we're gonna do more sniper stuff, and we're like, Gastown is in the video game, like we're gonna use the movie was eating itself a little bit, like turning inward on its own lore, which is fine. But until you mentioned, Nathan, that the world feels smaller in this, I didn't have that thought before, and now I totally know what you're saying, because on a subconscious level, it does feel small. They just bump into, like, this is the kind of movie where in the middle of their chase, they would just happen to pass Bartertown, and there'd be a shot of like a young Tina Turner being like, what are those guys up to? You know what I mean? Like all the stuff is close to each other.
They happen to bump into Max. And what's he been doing in the 10 years since then? Just circling around the same area. So it does feel.
I sorry, I mean to interrupt you, but things like that I really hate. Like he's just hanging out eating a sandwich up on the mountain, like just watching. Like I don't know, things like that really kind of bothered me.
Was it implied that he brought her back to the Citadel?
No, I don't think it was. I thought, see, that's a perfect example of that montage style that bothers me, because it's so ambiguous. I got the sense that maybe it might have been implied, but there's so much gray area there. Like even towards the end, where they escape the bullet farm and Chris Hemsworth and like many motorcycles come after Furiosa and Jack, and they're in that truck and they're going through the dunes. There's a shot where the Chris Hemsworth whole like vehicle army is like encroaching on them, and then they go up a really, really steep hill, and because of that steep hill, all the motorcycles have to break off, and it's just Chris Hemsworth's vehicle. And to me, that just felt not like laziness, but every time we got close to an action scene having like tons of vehicles, the movie would always shy away from it. Yeah.
I actually think that's one of the moments where the CGI didn't look great. And the end where Furiosa is coming over the dunes and the hill, I was like, oh, that's not, that visual just isn't as stunning as I wanted it to be. But it's
I do want to say the CGI was, I thought, a major step down from Fury Road.
Huge.
And I don't know if that was just because Fury Road was not as ambitious with CGI, where we didn't
There's a lot of CGI in Fury Road.
There was, but it just might be, I don't know if something was rushed in this or what it was, but I don't know if it was CGI. I don't know if it was green street or compositing. I don't know what it was, but I saw the cracks, the edges of the seams in it, and it really was noticeable. And I don't know if some of this was shot in the volume. I would hope it wasn't, but I felt like I could see those seams, and it screamed at me, where I did not feel that at all with Fury Road.
It dropped me on the server, but now I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You missed nothing. Okay. We were just talking about the shoddy special effects, the CGI, possibly.
I thought the fire CGI was not great. It didn't,
One, I actually surprisingly agreed with a reviewer in the Wall Street Journal when they said that when Hemsworth's team taking over Gastown when they like have that Trojan horse and they come in and they sneak in, they take it in from the inside. I felt that could have been a huge action sequence, and it was kind of perfunctory. I felt that about a lot of the action in the movie, and I had the weirdest. I was sandwiched between the guy on my left in the audience was like on his phone the whole time, which drove me nuts. The guy on my right had this weird energy, and he was talking to himself. And that scene where Furiosa's arm gets severed and she somehow escapes the like encircling.
I do love that.
That was cool.
I do love that.
The guy in the audience at normal volume, and he was at the movie theater alone. He wasn't with anyone. He wasn't talking to me. He just set it to the screen at the level of volume that I'm saying now. He's like, bullshit. She would have fucking bled to death. And I was like, oh man, like it's so awkward. Like, I thought the scene was
mediocre. Yeah. To put a pin in what you're talking about, Sam, with the, the montagey stuff, I think this movie vacillates between being a prequel and an epic and deepening the lore of Fury Road. It actually like adds a lot of depth to Fury Road, which not a lot of prequels can say. I think that's an impressive feat.
Right.
And then doing the Mad Max thing of you don't need all these details, we're going to keep it to the action. It's sort of trying to do both. So you get in the headspace of, this movie's telling me everything I need to know, and then suddenly it speeds through time and sort of fast forwards you, and you're left wanting a little more. So I hear you. That's frustrating. It doesn't nail the execution.
It dances. It does like a tightrope act on a line, and it almost gets it right, but it's so close to like with a couple of adjustments. This might have been like it could have been the best. Like it was on its way. Close. It was just like oof, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's time to take a break. I just want to say one thing, and this is a really simple thing. Chris Hemsworth, Cycle Chariot, big thumbs up for that. I want one of those.
I did like that, yeah.
Major highlight. I think that thing is powered by a jet engine. I was reading some trivia on it.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
I liked all the flying in this movie.
Great production design. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's take a quick break here. Thank you for dialing into our transmission. If you agree or disagree with any of our views, don't keep it to yourselves. Let us know your thoughts. Sharing your feedback is essential to building a community around all of our love of movies. You can do so by sending us an email at backtotheframerate@gmail.com or by finding us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, or YouTube. We would love it if you could take a moment and leave us a solid rating review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to our show. Do it right now. We'll wait. All right, thanks. We thank you all in advance. All right. It is time for movie pairings.
Excuse me, can you help me? I'm in an absolute loss. I've been looking for over an hour and I'm losing my mind. What I'm in the mood for is sort of a Katharine Hepburn-y, Cary Grant-y kind of thing. Nothing heavy. I couldn't take heavy. No, something zany. I'm looking for something zany. Or something modern would be fine too, like a Goldie Hawn, Chevy Chasey kind of thing. You know, funny. I want to laugh. I have to laugh tonight, really. Oh, do you have anything with that comedian? He's on that show. It's on the radio. You know the guy, he says, hey, forgive me. I get such a kick out of the way he says that. He's so goddamn adorable. That would be perfect. Didn't he make a movie?
One day we're going to cover that.
All right. It is the weekend and you want to watch a movie to accompany Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. What would be a great pairing that you guys would suggest our audience to watch with it? Who's going to go first here? Is it me because Lenny went first and I was next?
Sure.
Maybe I go first. I guess I can go first.
Excellent.
It sounds like an excellent choice. All right. My movie pairing this week is V for Vendetta, which is crazy to think that this is an 18-year-old movie now. Came out in 2006. And it's from director James McTeague. And of course, written by the Wachowskis. This takes place in a dystopian future where Britain is ruled under a totalitarian regime.
You got there.
I got there finally. And a protagonist wearing a Guy Fawkes mask wages a one-man war on the government. And that's the basic premise. It's got great performances from Natalie Portman. And I just realized that
she's amazing.
I just realized this is 2 weeks in a row I've recommended a Natalie Portman movie.
Well, yeah, because she's a freaking rock star, Nathan.
That wasn't my intention, but
she's one of my favorites.
She's great. She's great.
Yeah.
And I promise not to recommend Garden State next week. I promise. It also stars Evan Ray and John Hurt, Stephen Fry. All the Stevens are in this. And a murderous row of great British actors from the stage and screen. It has all of them. I actually haven't seen this in a long time, so a lot of the details are fuzzy on this. I really need to see this again, but it just seems like a perfect movie that I would want to watch with Furiosa.
Got that revenge thing.
But I do recall, the basic themes of the film, that being Portman as a character becoming entangled in the resistance, in the themes of resisting or rebelling against an oppressive and evil regime, which, of course, is similar to Furiosa's Odyssey. So that is my recommendation this week, and I think it's only available on VOD right now. So there you have it. I hand it off to B.
Sure. Well, buckle in, because if you're doing this as a double feature, I give you a triple feature. Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 with this movie. One woman's odyssey to right her wrongs, or the people who have wronged her, rather. I think this movie has incredibly strong parallels to Fury Road and Furiosa. It's not just the theme of revenge, it's the theme of growth through it. There's motherhood here. It's a powerful movie. I also thought Furiosa was one of the more graphically violent Mad Max movies, and buckle up for some of the old ultra violence, because we know Tarantino can deliver on that. I think it's one of my favorite Tarantinos. In the past, I've recommended Lady Snowblood, of course, the movie this was ripped from. Yeah. So go forth and watch this one too, because I think it's great.
Awesome. And I see this is on Netflix right now?
It says it is, yeah.
Netflix
stars, Tubi, AMC.
Awesome.
All the hits, so definitely watch it.
Great.
It's a great rewatch too. The soundtrack's fun. The cast is super star-studded.
Have you ever watched? Is there a version of this that is both films edited together?
Probably. Okay. I feel like this is a movie I've seen 100 times.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Sam, what do you got?
So what I've got is, because I was watching Furiosa and it made me desire a more coherent epic where the sum of the parts adds up to a greater whole, even if it's not the best movie in the world. And this is not a coming of age film. The main character in this film does not go back to childhood. Instead of the desert apocalypse future, I would go back to ancient Rome. And I would like to take the journey of Ridley Scott's Gladiator, because Russell Crowe is a character in that film who gets the short shaft and is blown around by circumstances out of his control. And his character has an arc and rises up. And to me, I find it far less episodic than Furiosa. They're two totally different movies, so it's you can't really compare them. But it's an epic where a character goes through hell and seeks vengeance with a villain, just like Furiosa, even though they're two totally different people in different time periods. And with these two films, I would watch Gladiator second, because for me, the episodic nature of Furiosa led me to desire to go back to 2000's Best Picture winner of a movie where we track a character and it's just this coherent journey that builds into a crescendo. And he gets back at Joaquin Phoenix and his journey is brutal and epic, but it's that to me harkens back a lot more to epics like Lawrence of Arabia or Ben-Hur or even Barry Lyndon, even though they're all different films. They're stories of characters that just, they go through this, that get blown around by circumstances and forces and go on this journey. And that's why Furiosa is fascinating to me, because it's so close to just being structurally, I like Furiosa's character. It's just that coherence of the narrative. So I would recommend Gladiator. Big fan.
Are you excited for the sequel? I know we talked about expectations
I am. I think it's bizarre to make a sequel to Gladiator, and I'd have no idea if it'll be good or not. But I will obviously show up to the theater and see it just to see what it's all about for completionism.
And the new Alien.
Alien Romulus, and I mean, I can't not see those movies. Like I have to see them to know.
November 22nd. It's weird to think where our country will be on November 22nd.
Oh my God, who knows?
Sam, hearing you talk about, oh boy, and hearing you talk about sort of the odyssey and epics of those movies, credit to Furiosa, it doesn't call attention to it in this way, but one of the only films of the genre that stars a woman is about a woman's journey in that way.
Yes, and that's why it's
and doesn't end with her being a mom.
Exactly. See, that's why I like it. Like I like her character and I like her vengeance, and I think her story is awesome. And my slightly muted positive review is it's not because of her story. I actually really liked Anya Taylor-Joy. It's the storytelling pieces.
Sure, it's just a little sloppy for you.
For me, yeah. But her story, she is on the same level, if not above, those other characters. And I just wish that George Miller had done a better job telling her worthy story. But no discredit to George Miller. I mean, he's
master filmmaker. He told the story he wanted to. Yeah.
Those are our recommendations for our pairings this week. By the way, Gladiator is streaming right now on Apple TV Plus and Paramount Plus. If you end up watching any of these movies as a double feature, let us know what you think. And by the way, all of our pairings are available to see, well, not available to watch, but our recommendations are on our Letterboxd account, and you can check that out. I'll put a link in our show notes for that. Okay, we're going to get to our verdict, whether this movie, Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, is going to be saved or purged out into the fiery apocalypse, where it will be part of the Wasteland within the Mad Max universe. Okay, I guess I am first in this. And it's hard for me because I don't know where you guys, I think I know where you guys are probably going to go with this, but oh man. I'm really on the fence with this, but I'm going to say yes to save this, because even though originally I was going to say no, because I don't think this is top tier a Mad Max film. I have a feeling that over time, after a second or third viewing, I will come around to this even more to find a lot more that I will appreciate in this film. I think I just need some more time to sit with this film. There is so much that is really great about this, and I think I know that, and I just need to sit with it some more. I think Hemsworth is really, really great in this. As you said, B, I'm not really sure about Anya Taylor-Joy. I think the younger version of her
amazing
is really good, and that was, I have the actress's name here. Alia Brown plays young Furiosa. She looks more like a young Anya Taylor-Joy than Anya Taylor-Joy looks like a young
Charlize.
They're wrong. But I think she is really good. She emotes a lot, almost saying nothing in the movie, and she is fantastic. So there is so much to like about this movie. I gave it 3.5. It probably is closer to a 4, but I'm going to leave it 3.5 for now, and maybe I'll come around to a higher rating down the road. But yeah, I say save it, because I have a feeling there will be a third one, and maybe it will become a cohesive trilogy. And I think that I'm banking on that happening. So yes. B, you're next.
I don't need it. I don't need it in the bunker. We have so many other good Mad Max movies that I'm going to watch. I'm okay with it if we don't save it. That might be controversial. I'm sorry.
Okay. That is a no.
Oh. Man, I feel guilt.
Go with your heart. It doesn't matter.
Go with your heart.
Yeah, it does matter, because there are stakes here. Everything matters.
I
do whatever you think is right.
I still feel hurt that Out of Africa did not make it in. So I'm going to use my power and send this movie to the dust out of spite. But in all honesty, I feel bad. I like this movie. Oh God. Oh, man, I do not like this position. I actually really, I don't know. Man. Oh,
you were really in this position, Sam.
Yeah.
We need to change our rules so that we lock in our votes and then we announce it so that we don't have the pressure on. But yeah,
man, you know what?
Okay.
It does like 80% of what I want an epic to do, and like I'll just let it stay in the vault. I'd let it in.
Okay. Awesome.
That was rough.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's. I guess it stays.
This must be what it feels like to be in Congress.
Amazing.
All right, what is going on?
Oh man.
We blocked it behind.
We got a door jam. We got a door jam, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I know. Everything is on repeat.
Can I ask you both what your Mad Max ranking is?
Yeah, I was gonna save that for our May.
Okay, all right,
but
all right. We can talk. Just tune into our wrap up.
Tune into our wrap up. We got to save something for that.
That's right.
What's really funny is that if you said no, Sam, no, you gave it a 3.5. I said I would have given it the lowest rating, but only been the only one that would have said yes to save it. But we had, anyways, we're in alignment on it pretty much. But yeah, I'm so on the fence on it. But all right, cool. Well, another movie.
That's Furiosa.
That's Furiosa. Very. It's really close. All right, that is, I think that's everything. Oh, by the way, this is another thing I've been wanting to mention. If you want to see a list of all the movies that we have saved in our vault, you can do that also. It is another letterbox list, and I will also put that link in the show notes as well. And you can see all the movies that have been saved for the future generations to enjoy. Maybe there should be a list of all the movies that have been destroyed that nobody will see again. Now, that'd be just depressing. No, we're not going to do that.
I just didn't have the heart. I just could not. I literally, in my mind's eye, I saw like Anna Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth and like George Miller like looking at me, and I just had this vision. I couldn't kick them out into the sandstorm and be like, "Screw you!" I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't do it.
Technically, Sam, this is not a slight on you, but I don't know if you have the heart in any case, because in the history of this show, since we've been doing this, you've only said no once.
I know there's a subconscious, deep-seated desire to be liked. And that
I wonder how many times have I said no?
That goes into my subconscious.
That's okay, Sam.
There is a whole shared document. I could tell you, Sam, you have said yes 15 times and no 1 time.
Wow.
B has said yes put 10 movies in the vault and purged 7 movies. And I have put 10 movies in the vault and purged 7 movies.
Okay.
But Sam, you are a champion of all movies pretty much, except for The Gray.
Oh, wow. I kicked out The Gray? Oh, man. Wow. I forgot about that.
To be fair, I think we watched The Gray right after we watched some other really good stuff.
We watched this. This is part of our winter movie, Society of the Snow. We
were coming up on Revenant and The Thing, so I feel like you were like, "Oh, we have other exciting things coming."
The Revenant got in. B, you voted no, but the rest of us voted yes.
I stand by it.
You stand by that. I was kind of on the fence. I think I gave it a 4.
You know what it is?
I have averages. I have all of our ratings too, and they're all
I'm in the doc
out.
now. I didn't see this doc before.
The highest rating between all of us is Sam, who gives movies an average of 3.966, followed by
we gotta be around that.
who gives movies an average rating of 3.705. I give movies an average rating of 3.676, which me and B are about the same. Sam, so you're a little bit higher. Our guests, including our previous co-host Ellie, if you average hers and any guest, 3.954. Our guests seem to like our movies.
That should give me the new nickname of Sam the Merciful. I am Sam
benevolent Sam. Just benevolent.
Benevolent Sam.
Free. We're gonna find a good nickname.
Sam, we're still in the Shire. What could possibly go wrong? Cornfield. Sorry.
Oh boy, this has gone off the rails.
Yeah, we have gone off the rails.
Maybe no one cares about our in-house statistics.
No. I know that.
Cut that out.
I love stats, as you know.
Yeah.
I get deep in the weeds with
I will have my vengeance for Out of Africa in this life or the next.
Okay.
I don't think Out of Africa was even close. You give it we were.
Nathan, no, we gotta cut this.
We
save it for the wrap.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it. So here's the thing: we are moving on. This is the end of our Mad May retrospective. This was a lot of fun. We are going to be, I think, coming back with a May wrap up where we'll have some of our closing thoughts on this retrospective and some awards and some other fun things just to recap the month in this retrospective. But then we're coming back in June with a whole new retrospective series, which will be June Pride. We're still, I think, working on the list of movies, so keep tuning tuned in for that list of movies, and hopefully some other big announcements coming up. But stay tuned for that, everyone. And I think that is it.
Woo, we made it.
We're fun forever. The chop, 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 chibbity dip, dip. Sorry.
Oh my god.
All right, that is the show this week. Back to the Frame Rate is part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. We wish to thank Brian Ellsworth for our show opening and, of course, Lenny Schwartz for joining us this week. On behalf of all of us, we bid you farewell from the Fallout Shelter. Your presence in our underground sanctuary is truly appreciated. We are truly sorry you cannot join us, but we want to express our gratitude for your company. If you are finding solace in our discussions, we kindly ask that you please subscribe and leave a rating and review. You can find more episodes of this podcast on backtotheframerate.com, and our handle on our socials is backframerate. Your support is the beacon of light that brightens our confined space. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whichever portal connects you to our broadcast. My dog is barking. That is not a euphemism. All right. And share your thoughts. Until we emerge from the fallout, stay with us, keep hope alive, and keep those reviews coming. This is the end of our transmission. Back to the Frame Rate, signing off.
Make it epic. Make it epic. Make it epic.
I want you to know it's over.
Well.
Bye.
Bye.